Hello guys, my name is Alex, I'm new to YouTube and I'm gonna show you how to make this cool and yet easy to make platformer. And before I do that, I wanna answer two questions that nobody asked me. Why I'm making this series and what you can expect from this series that I cannot promise to finish. Answer to the first one is very simple. I noticed that most of the channels about game development have series on how to make platformer. So I believe I need to make my own if I want to be able to enter Valhalla. And for the second one, what you can expect? Well, it's gonna be easy to make platformer. I believe you can beat it in a day if you really want to. It's gonna have nice player controller with a double jump, wall mechanics, knockback and some additions like coyote time and buffer time for jump to improve game feel and player experience. There are gonna be different traps mechanics, camera like in Celeste, pick up items, scene transitions and blah blah blah. Alright, let's make the game already. So here we are in Unity. Let's go to Window, click Asset Store and check your browser, it should be open there. Or maybe you'll have it open in Unity itself. Asset Store is a very useful place to check from time to time. You can find characters, environment, UI, music and so much more things that can be useful. But we're gonna find Pixel Adventure, so let's just type it in a search field and import it to Unity. I already know this asset, so I want to arrange it a little bit better. Let's click right button on the folder and find Show in Explorer. I'm just gonna find all folders and files in the assets, select them and press Ctrl X to cut it out. Then I'm gonna go to main assets folder, create new folder with the name graphics and paste it in there. We don't need Pixel Adventure folder anymore, so we can delete it. And now I want to go to Window and select different layout. I'm gonna go to Window, Layouts, 2x3, because I like to see my scene window and a game window at the same time when I'm making 2D games. Besides, we have hierarchy and inspector besides each other, so it's easy to drag and drop stuff. Now I'm gonna change resolution of the game screen. Let's select free aspect and change to the resolution most people use. Now I'm going to show you a couple of different components so you can understand better what we're doing in the code later. We need game object to practice with, so let's choose sprite sheet for our player, for main character. There are 4 of them and I'm gonna choose this one, virtual guy, but you can select anything you like because it doesn't matter which one we'll use. It will work for all of them. Let's take chosen folder and do the same what we did before. Drag it to the main asset folder. I'm doing this because I'm gonna access player sprites a lot and I don't wanna search through different folders every time. Now let's do right click and choose rename. We're gonna type player and then go inside and we need to find our sprite sheet. Find one of the idle sprites and drag it to the scene. And at the moment our player is really tiny. To change that, we're gonna go to sprite sheet, find pixel per unit and change it to 16. Boom, now it's the right size. And we should change name of the object as well, player will do. So now the only problem is, if I hit play, nothing actually happens. It is because our player doesn't have any components except sprite renderer. To change that, I'm gonna click Add Component button and find Rigid Body 2D, so my object will behave like an actual physical object. Now let's create simple platform. I'm gonna click right button and choose 2D sprite square and name it platform. I wanna change its color to something nice. Now let's move it a little bit and change the shape so it actually looks like a platform. To control game object like that, I'm using tools which you can see over here. And actually hotkeys for them are extremely easy to remember. There is Q for view tool, so you can move scene around just like that. There is W for move tool, so you can move your object around. Well, let me demonstrate. Ta-da! There is a E tool for rotating objects as you like. And then there is R tool for rescaling objects. And there is a T tool to transform your object and give it some shape you need. Alright. There is also hottest hotkey created in human history, Ctrl-Z, that helps you to revert changes. Now that we know basic hotkeys, let's select our platform and give it component of a rigid body. In the body type you can select 3 different types. Dynamic body type can be moved and it will be affected by physics. Kinematic can be moved but it won't be affected by physics. And static cannot be moved at all, it will just stay at one place. But it doesn't resolve the issue, player falls through the ground. It is because we need to define shape of the game object with a collision detection. To do that, we're gonna select the player, click Add Component and find Capsule Collider. Just gonna change shape a little bit to fit the player sprite, and I'm gonna do same for the platform. I'm just gonna give it a box collider. Okay, this is what we need. Player stands on the platform, and now even if I take my platform and rotate it a little bit, then player will roll off like that. Wow! Cool, right? To fix that, we're gonna go to rigid body of the player, find constraints, and freeze rotation on the Z. And while we are here, let's change collision detection to continuous. Okay, it worked. Now I want to talk about sorting layers a little bit, because it's a 2D game and we need to define what object will be visible and what object will be behind it. I'll just take some sprite from the graphics folder for example, and we're gonna take a look at the sorting layers. As you can see now, player is behind these blades and blades are in front of the platform, and that is not exactly as we need, because character should be always visible to the player, and I believe it's better if the saw is behind the platform, so it looks something like this. We can do this by changing order in layer, so let's set 1 for the player, let's find the platform, it will be 0, and for the saw itself, well, let me name it saw, and it will be -1 here. And now this acts exactly as we need. But you cannot do this for all of your game objects. Imagine you have like 40 of them. You cannot sort them like that. So what you actually can do is create sorting layer. Let's click sorting layer, add sorting layer, and here you have plus icon. I'm gonna create first one. I'll name it ground, then one more for trap, and one more for player. Now let's select our game objects and give them layers for player, ground, and trap. What else you should know that is lower number of the layer, the lower priority it has. So if I place trap at layer 1, you can see that trap is behind the player and behind the ground as well. Later on we're gonna have cool trap that's moving left and right and damaging the player. Alright, let's take care of ourselves in the future and add a couple of more sorting layers. One more is for pickup items and one more is for background. And before you rush to watch my next video, please give me a second to tell you that I recently released a course on Udemy that teaches you how to make endless runner with cool different features like parkour, AI enemies, traps, and you can actually watch video that describing my course on this channel as well, and I'll leave link in the description together with a discount coupon. Alright, thanks for paying attention, I hope you learned something new, and I'll see you in the next one. Pew!